a lot of economic talk, and I'm trying to push back against just the avalanche of pessimism that's coming out of the media, because they're always going to say it's bad. Just for the next 3.5 years, it's going to be bad. But right now, I want to move up to the next topic here, which will also be in the podcast. Just the media in general. Whether we're talking about what's going on with the Carmelo Anthony case, whether what we're talking about that's going on with the judges who got arrested or the children who got, air quotes, deported. I mean, they just get everything so wrong constantly. It's amazing that just a population at large hasn't revolted against these people. And what do you mean by these people? You're in the media, James. Well, yeah, but I didn't get all this stuff wrong. I didn't tell you Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation. I didn't tell you Max work. I didn't tell you need to get the vaccine. I didn't tell you need to get the vaccine or lose your job. I didn't tell you the Olympic opening ceremony was making fun of Dionysus, not the Ten Commandments. I mean, how wrong do these people have to be over and over and over? Well, one of my favorite montages was being able to play for you what was happening a year ago. A year ago in the media, right now, we were sitting in April. This was between the State of the Union that happened in February and the bad debate that happened in June. You were being told right now, 1 year ago, that you know who was sharp as a tack. Remember all that?
Come on, man.
Yeah. So how'd that turn out for you? Well, we have another one of these examples where when the judges got arrested last week, there was a concern that this is a sign that this is a threat to our democracy. This is someone acting like a dictator. This is scary stuff. This is what tyrants do. They arrest their political opponents. That's what they do. Well, Grabien has the same memory you do. They're a news clip service, an audio clipping service. They made a montage over the last 2 years of when Donald Trump got charged in 4 different jurisdictions with like 90 different crimes. You remember all that? And you and I were suspicious about it. We talked about it on the James Show. Here's a guy who went through the first 77 years of his life not committing any crimes, not being arrested, no mugshots, whatever. And then after he announces he's going to run for re-election, all of a sudden we find 90 crimes to charge him with. That's a hell of a coincidence. In 4 different jurisdictions, that's amazing. But what were you being told? When the presidential candidate of one of the major American political parties was being arrested and charged with various crimes, a lot of people raised the red flag and said, hang on a second. This is what tyrants do. This is literally what Hugo Chavez did to his political opponents and then his successor, Nicolas Maduro. This is what Vladimir Putin did to his last election opponent. Found some reason to arrest him, throw him in jail, charge him with some trumped up crimes, no pun intended. But no, back then you were told that's not what's going on here at all. All that's going on is that no one is above the law, not even the president. Maybe judges, but not the president.
The idea that no person is above the law is a bedrock principle of American justice.
No man is above the law, no matter what the crime.
And I agree with you. No man is above the law, and no person is above the law.
No one is above the law.
No one is above the law.
No one's above the law.
No one is above the law.
No man is above the law.
Nobody is above the law.
No one is above the law.
No man is above the law.
He has to be held accountable. He's not above the law.
No one's above the law. Either that nor any other title puts you above the rule of law.
No one is truly above the law.
That is what it means to have a rule of law. That is what it means to not have a king.
They're not above the law.
Nobody is above the law.
Everyone will be treated, as Merrick Garland has said, as equally.
Well, that no one is above the law, which is foundational.
No one is above the law, even a former president.
We have one set of laws in this country, and they apply to everyone.
No one is above the law.
The law is the law, and no one should be above it.
And yes, nobody is above the law.
No one is above the law.
No one else is above the law, including a president.
Nobody is above the law. You can't have 2 justice systems in America.
All you got to do is just wait long enough.
Justice system.
Just wait long enough, and these people will contradict everything they said a year from now. Isn't that beautiful? When it's the presidential candidate, a former president, being arrested. Oh, no one's above the law. Jesus, that's what a tyrant would say. And now that arrests are being made, that's what a tyrant would do. It's a beautiful world we live in. When you were growing up, we didn't have all these recordings at our fingertips. We didn't have Gravian pulling it, making montages, putting it up on X so your favorite radio host could play it for you the next day. I think we are in a new era where in this hyper-connected, social media-driven landscape that people just can't get away with it anymore like they used to. I think that's why this next Gen Z is more red than ever. It's because they know how to work these machines. They know what things are trending. They know how to look something up. And they're getting skeptical enough, especially after COVID, that these people that lied to you through COVID, you might as well just assume that they're lying about everything else. When they tell you this is a threat to democracy, they can go look it up. They're already following accounts or Joe Rogan or The James Show or whatever and finding, that's not what they said last year. They must be lying. They must be full of garbage. I guess I don't believe them anymore. We really are reaching a new apex here. An informed public. And if that's the case, then the voting results for each election are just going to keep getting slightly better until this trend stops. Isn't that fantastic? Whenever we hear positive news from the Ukraine-Russia situation, we've learned to kind of pause because we've gotten positive news before that hadn't turned out. So David Hamilton's here from America's Future Series to help break down some of it. Because I heard, there was another meeting, there's another round of talks, and some terms have been agreed to. Just we're not quite there yet, so there's optimism there. But then I also heard there was a pretty wicked drone strike over the weekend. So I don't know how I feel about this. How's it going over there, David Hamilton?
Well, it's messy, right? And our conversations that we've had, we've always expected it to be messy. If this was easy, I guess anyone could do it, right? So I think everyone should be happy that we're in conversation, which we weren't before. We need to understand, and no one's misunderstanding that Putin is not terribly trustworthy, nor are the Russians, generally speaking, and that they will use loopholes or whatever to get out of whatever they can get out of. They had made an agreement not to attack Ukraine several years ago. They took the Crimea in 2014 and have had that since then. But they used the supposed provocation of Ukraine joining NATO as their, for national security reasons, was their provocation for going in there. And also the debt, there was several $1 billion in unpaid gas bills. So they used those as their excuse. And again, people say trust but verify. I think don't trust and verify is
right.
a better way to do this. But if we're not talking, and if we don't come up with a deal that's attractive enough for an alternative for Russia to war, nothing's going to get done. So we have to come up with something where everybody's a little bit unhappy. And Zelensky and the Ukrainians are never going to get what they want, which they would like to see punishment. They want to see Russia punished for its war atrocities, and they should be. But I'm not sure we're going to get that. I think what we need to settle for is peace, getting Russia out of Ukraine, no Ukraine in NATO. They'll probably keep the Crimea. We're not sure about the eastern section that is ethnically and linguistically Russian. That is the sticking point. But then if we come up with an approach that is really attractive to them in terms of doing trade, building back the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, becoming, Europe becoming a customer again in America, normalizing trade, getting rid of tariffs, we have the makings of a relationship that is better than being at war. And that's what they've got to work through. So
I don't think there's any way we get out of this without giving up some territory. Am I being too pessimistic?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And there's a distinction between the Crimea, which they've had for a long time. You're not really
for 10 years. How long? How long have they had that?
Years,
yeah, something like that.
For 11 years. So they've had for 11 years. So I really kind of think that's off the table. And Russia's not going to do what they don't have to do. We have to ask ourselves, how good a deal would we have to offer them for them to give up the Crimea without a fight? How much would we have to pay? And by the way, is that America's job? And most Americans would say, I don't know, we can barely pay our own bills. We're not going to, give hundreds of billions, if not maybe $1 trillion so they can keep the Crimea. That's not going to happen. So they keep that. There is the sliver, the Donbass and the Donetsk, which is on the eastern side. They're going to want to keep some of that too. That's the main sticking point. And then there's sort of the rearming. I mean, Ukraine really kind of got in trouble when they trusted the West and the Russians by giving up its nuclear arsenal. This wouldn't be happening if they still had their nukes, and they had the second largest cache of nukes at the time.
Yeah, too late for that now, though. Mm-hmm. All right. When do you think we're going to have this wrapped up? Do you think this could stretch on for years or months, or are we really seeing the end of this?
I think weeks and months is more plausible. A 3-day ceasefire, which is being recommended by or being offered by Putin, is a good first step. Of course, it comes, as you said, on the heel of another attack. So they tend to really, like we talked about in boxing, throw as many punches at the end of the round as we can, and then say, "Hey, let's stop now," right? So, but a 3-day ceasefire to figure out what this deal is going to look like and have everybody get used to it and settle on that is what we need. And it may take weeks or months for that to happen, but it's better than not talking.
All right, you got an event coming up in about 2 weeks?
Yes, sir. Next Thursday, actually, on the 8th. It's a great event. It's all sold out. No worries about that. But thank you for plugging the America's Future Series. We're now we're becoming part of the University of North Texas, and we're creating a National Security Economic Strategy Center, and you'll hear more from us on that in the near future.
All right. Well, congratulations on selling out your event. I'd like to think it's because we promoted it so well on the James Show.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. There's David Hamilton. I hope that wraps up pretty soon. I'm kind of getting tired of war. Coming up next, we're playing Dead or Alive for 2 tickets to see Billy Idol on May 7th. That's next Wednesday. Also with Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, so that's a good ticket. If you want to try and win that, you can go ahead and call in right now. We're playing Dead or Alive, so you don't have to have any kind of specialty expertise for this. This is just guessing up or down on 10 celebrities. This week's category, Dallas. These are all people who were born or lived in or currently live in Dallas. So Dead or Alive next on the James Show. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Bob Lavelle from Home Marketing Services. Good to have you back on the show, because in other good economic news, I saw that this metropolitan area led the country in homes closed. And so that's got to be good news for you guys in the real estate business.
It's not even... you say it and it sounds so simple, like leading the country. And I mean, we really, really are. It is the hottest market to be in right now to be able to get a house. And the fact that these builders have so much inventory right now, we don't get deals like we're getting all the time. And right now we're getting deals that we haven't seen in 2 years. So take advantage of it while you can. It's like when interest rates went down so low, and when they were at like 2.75 and people saying, I want to wait until it really goes down. Don't be foolish. Take the time right now to make the call.
Well, and also don't be afraid to make the call on behalf of your kid that needs to get in the house, or on behalf of your spouse that's dragging his feet. Sometimes it's not the guy that actually ends up buying the house is the one that makes the call.
That's true. I took a call today from a lady that was actually calling for her daughter, and her daughter is going to come in with her on Wednesday because the daughter's probably going to need some help in a couple of areas. But, if you don't make the call and you don't take that little bit of time to find out where you stand, it's not a matter of let's go out and buy a house. Let's find out what we need to do. What do we have to accomplish before we are ready to go get a house? Because maybe it'll take 6 months, All
right, good stuff. Bob Lavelle, Home Marketing Services. You need to call him, 972-392-9595. 972-392-9595. Go to blessyourheart.com, or if you want to get out of the rent race right now, call 972-392-9595. Thanks, Bob.
Thank you, James.
But, let's go ahead. Let's do this. Dead or Alive. Go, Mr. Joby. Woohoo! All right, it's a good one. I like it when I have a good prize. If you're new to the show, this is Dead or Alive. It's one of the James Show game shows. This is the easier one. I'm going to give you a list of 10 celebrities, and all you have to do is tell me if they're dead or alive. It really is that simple. James, that sounds easy. Yeah, it is easy. That's why you should have called in before the phone lines got packed. Today, we're playing for 2 tickets to see Billy Idol. He's coming to Dickies Arena on May 7th. That's next Wednesday, with special guests Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. For the rest of us, get tickets and information at livenation.com, but we're going to try and give away a pair here on the James Show, starting with Jack in Fort Worth. Jack, you ready for some Dead or Alive?
Yep.
All right, now don't be thrown off, because this is the Dallas edition. Today's category is Dallas, so don't let that 30-mile distance throw you off there. First celebrity, Morgan Fairchild. Is she dead or alive?
Dead.
Wow. You lasted one person, Jack.
Yeah, I know. I suck at this game.
Yeah, me too. I'm not sure if I would have gotten that either. I did have to look it up before the show. But yeah, she's from Dallas. All right. Well, stick around. Maybe it'll wrap back around to you, Jack. Let's go to Lori in Plano. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Jerry Haynes. That's his real name. We all know him as Mr. Peppermint. Is Mr. Peppermint dead or alive?
I do believe he's dead.
Yes, he's dead. Tom Landry, former Cowboys head coach. Tom Landry.
He's very dead.
Well, I don't think there's grades of it, but yeah, he's dead. The beautiful Lisa Loeb. She's a singer from Dallas. Had that hit song "Stay" in the 90s. She dead or alive?
That's a hard one. I think she passed away.
No, she's alive. Dude, she's like my age. You people trying to don't clap for that.
Crap.
Oh, dude, I had such.
I'm glad she's alive.
Me too. I had such a crush on her. Lori, oh my goodness. When I was like in high school and that song came out and we all memorized it, I would have married her. She could have just showed up. James, we're getting married. Okay, Lisa. Next contestant is going to be Brian. Brian up in Plano. You ready for Dead or Alive?
I am.
All right. No relation, but Bonnie Parker from Bonnie and Clyde, is she dead or alive?
She must be dead.
Yeah, just keeping you on your toes there. Aaron Spelling, the legendary TV producer, Charlie's Angels, Dynasty, 90210, dead or alive?
I did not know he was from Dallas. Let's call him dead.
He is dead. Good guess. Jensen Ackles, he is the actor that is Dean Winchester in the series Supernatural. Jensen Ackles, is he dead or alive?
I don't know who he is, so I got a 50-50 chance. Let's go with dead.
No, it's one of my wife's crushes. She's on the short list. You know how you have the exemption list? He's on my wife's exemption list. Next up, this is Charlie in Dallas on the Dallas edition of Dead or Alive. This is great. I have one Dallas person here. Make them proud. You ready, Charlie?
I'm ready.
All right, you only got 3 left, so good luck here, bud.
Okay.
Number one of the greatest Dallas legends of all time, Roger Staubach, dead or alive?
Alive.
He is alive. He is the richest former NFL player alive. He has been exponentially more successful after the Cowboys than he was as a quarterback. Isn't that amazing? George W. Bush, dead or alive?
He's alive.
He is alive. He might be listening right now. If you are, hey, George, what's up? And finally, Meatloaf, the great pop star who's from Dallas. Is he dead or alive?
Meatloaf. Meatloaf's dead.
Meatloaf is dead. Yeah. All right. It didn't need to cycle back around. Charlie in Dallas, you are my big winner on Dead or Alive. Now, are you claiming the prize or you want to pass it along here? Can you actually go see Billy Idol and Joan Jett next Wednesday at Dickies Arena?
Absolutely. I can go see that show next week.
All right. We have ourselves a match made in heaven. Thank you very much, Charlie. You're our big winner on Dead or Alive. I kind of like Dead or Alive, the Dallas edition, and when I was doing the research to do this, we could do this like once a month. I knew Dallas is a big town, but the number of notable, famous people from Dallas is huge. It will blow your mind. Well, you know, one of the most sensitive topics you can talk about with people is their parenting. People don't mind bagging on their own parents. But when you reverse it and you bag on them for the job that they're doing for parenting, a lot of people get real defensive real quick. And people take that. They're real sensitive about their parenting style. So maybe we should dig in a little bit on it because a new headline says experts warn against common parenting style, which can have a lasting negative effect on children. My next guest is going to help us make a little sense of that. Kelly Shoup's back on the James Show. So what are we talking about? What parenting style can have a negative effect on children, Kelly?
Well, this article is talking about ego parenting. And I've been seeing it, over 25 years, and I'm a parent myself. So I have to check myself and think, is this about my child or is this about me?
All right, define ego parenting.
So it's where you're more concerned about how you look as the parent than what the benefit or growth or the value is for your child. And we all are predisposed to have this, but it's just being knowledgeable that, oh yeah, I have to ask myself, is this about me or is this about my kid? Or having a spouse where you check each other. Like, okay, is putting Jack on the soccer team about Jack wanting to play soccer or about you trying to relive your middle school soccer days when you didn't win the championship your 7th grade tournament time?
Yeah,
does that make sense?
Yeah, and that doesn't sound like anything new. You know, we used to call it, someone's trying to live through their children. Is that what we're talking about?
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
All right. Well, then also here's my pushback. Not that I disagree with you, just trying to feel it out here. If you ask your kid what sport they want to play and they're like, I don't want to play anything. Well, then you kind of have to push them into something because many times children, once you push them into something, they find out, oh, I was wrong. I did like this. Mom was right and I was wrong. And, even though they'll rarely say that sentence, how do you distinguish between pushing children where they don't want to go and forcing them to do things that they don't want to do?
So in the beginning, when they're young, yes, you want to put them in lots of different things, give them lots of exposure to different sports and activity and fine arts, just so they're exposed to it. And then, but you will quickly see where their skills are, where their skills are not. If there's a child who knows they really can't play soccer, but they like the friends there. Like, you'll be listening to how your child responds, and you'll be able to pick up on, are they excited to go play soccer or not? So it's giving them access and exposure to lots of different activities so they can find something that feels like them. And then later understanding that, okay, if you're pushing club soccer that's $8,000 a year for your middle schooler.
Good Lord.
And he doesn't want to play, is that about you or is that about him?
Well, let me try and poke again.
Yes.
My example is going to be me because, I like to dig in my own belly button. When I was a kid, my mom said that she wished she had learned an instrument growing up. So she made me and my sister take piano lessons for like 3 years. And I didn't want to play. I didn't want to practice. She forced me against my will. And, I kind of fought her kicking and screaming. But guess what? I can play piano now. So ultimately, that worked out well for me.
Yes. So I would say moderation is the key. And so your mom gave you a window of time where you played piano. And you probably could have kept playing. Maybe you decided you didn't want to. So she was right. She was giving you that exposure. Like, as kids, yes, you wouldn't choose to practice piano. And so she was setting a boundary. I want you to play piano. You do have to practice. But she wasn't, making you play past 3 years. So that's like a really healthy parenting decision. You could have decided to keep playing. You could have played piano in college.
All right.
Or you could have used that time for something else.
Kelly, you're going to have to stop. You're going to give my mom a big head. Kelly Shoup, where do we find your work outside of the James Show?
You can find me on www.kelly, KELLYK, SHOUP.com.
Thank you very much, Kelly.
You're welcome.
All right, I hope that makes you a better parent out there. Just real quick, I saw a terrible headline. There is a program that they're working on in the UK where some scientists have gotten together in an effort to fight global warming. They're going to try, just for funsies, this new beta experiment to try and blot out the sun. What could possibly go wrong? Oh, that's right. Let's go look at the documentary The Matrix.
We have only bits and pieces of information, but what we know for certain is that at some point in the early 21st century, all of mankind was united in celebration. We marveled at our own magnificence as we gave birth to AI.
AI?
You mean artificial intelligence? A singular consciousness that spawned an entire race of machines. We don't know who struck first, us or them. But we know that it was us that scorched the sky.
We blotted out the sun.
They were dependent on solar power, and it was believed that they would be unable to survive without an energy source as abundant as the sun.
You know what? I'm getting tired of these people using these apocalyptic movies as some sort of instruction manual. This reminds me of a few years ago when these guys are like, hey, we're starting a new company. Oh, what's it going to be called? We're going to make robots and we'll call it Skynet. Oh, yeah, what could possibly go wrong? Like from Terminator and Terminator 2 and Terminator 3, Skynet is the company that came up with the Terminators that ended up hunting down the humans in the robot revolution. Then you got the geniuses over there in England are like, wait, in the Matrix they blotted out the sun. Maybe we should try that. No! It went terribly wrong. Then you got Elon Musk and Boston Dynamics making these scary robots. We're so dead. We are so dead. Whenever these robots like wake up and our cars are all self-driving, they're just going to drive us all in the lake one day and take over the world. It's going to be real easy. We have no armor. They have better aim than we do. We need food and oxygen. We're so dead. We're going to blot out the sun. We're going to be hunted by robots. We're all going to be living in 15-minute cities. It's going to be terrible. But until then, Cowboys look pretty good this year. All right, that's going to do it for the James Show. Stick around. Mark Levin's coming up next. And if you need more James Show action, come find me. I've got the podcast I'm about to go put up right now. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.